Radio.
All right, good Saturday morning, everybody. Welcome in. It's our expanded Buckeye pregame show live here on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, 1410 Wing AM, and of course 92.9 Jack FM, simulcasting all Buckeyes season long, at least all the football side of things. Excited for today's matchup, Ohio State, Michigan. We didn't get that matchup last year thanks to COVID, and we're excited to have that matchup here coming up today. A shot to get to the Big Ten championship game as well as both teams' playoff chances still alive. It's an elimination game. The loser of today's game, playoff chances are out the window. That's what makes today's game so special, as well as the rivalry itself. Former Ohio State Buckeye Bobby Carpenter, he joins us next right here on 1410 ESPN Radio and 92.9 Jack FM.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So it's about that time for an oil change? We've got what you need. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge full synthetic or full synthetic high mileage and an STP extended life oil filter for just $31.99. And you can get it all fast, your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
If the Oral-B IO electric toothbrush had a theme song, this would be it.
I think you're gonna wanna see this.
Only IO combines Oral-B's dentist-inspired round brush head with gentle micro vibrations for a brushing experience even dentists have hailed as literally the best brush I've ever used. Get the wow of a professional clean feel every day with the IO from Oral-B, the #1 brand used by dentists.
You're gonna see what everybody's talking about.
Oral-B, brush like a pro.
It's not just Santa who's coming to town, it's also your in-laws and their cousins. So time for some gifts from the Home Depot. From doorbell cameras to intelligent thermostats, you'll look smart and save big on the latest smart home gifts. Does your father-in-law like to fix things around the house? Put him to work with a DeWalt 20-volt 2-battery starter kit. Buy one, get one free. That should keep him busy. No matter who comes to town this year, make the holidays yours with savings on tools and gifts store-wide from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
O'Reilly.
This is Claudia's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
I had just moved to a new city and barely even knew where the grocery store was yet. When my car wouldn't start one morning, I didn't know who to ask about local shops. But I remembered a name from back home, O'Reilly Auto Parts. I called and they pointed me to a great mechanic just down the street. Now I feel a little more at home.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
To remind pet owners that Progressive covers pets on our auto policy at no extra charge, we decided to make a really cute pet-themed radio commercial. Can you hear that, puppy? If you could see this, you would melt. I mean, just the softest fur. Oh, wait, he's trying to open this box now, and oh, the box is filled with kittens. If only there was some way you could see this. Oh, what a glaring oversight.
Get coverage for your pets with an auto policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
You know a spot, but not just a spot, the spot. Actually, with the all-new Nissan Frontier, you know a bunch of them. But the key to these great spots? being able to reach them in the first place. Your spot is out there. Find your frontier in the all-new 2022 Nissan Frontier with standard 310 horsepower, advanced tech, and 281 pound-foot of torque.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
All sports. All the time. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
1, 2, 3.
All right, we welcome you back. It's our expanded Buckeye pregame show live here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 Wing AM and 92.9 Jack FM. And joining us now to dive more into Ohio State, Michigan, noon kickoff, we have former Ohio State Buckeye Bobby Carpenter with us this morning. Bobby, good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Well, there's only one way to be on a day like today. And I woke up, I felt like it was Christmas morning. We didn't get this matchup a year ago. We're obviously getting it this year, Bobby, and there's so much more on the line than just the rivalry stuff, the bragging rights. There's a Big Ten championship spot on the line, a chance to get to the college football playoff. It's an elimination game. The loser of today's game, their playoff chances out the window. Just you being a former player, especially a former Buckeye, you wake up on this kind of morning. How do you feel this morning?
Oh, goodness. I wake up a little bit of excitement, a little bit of nerves, but part of that is the fact that I'm going to be watching the game and have no impact on being able to play it. So the people who have no ability to impact or influence the game, there's always going to be some added nerves on that end because you have all this nervous energy built up and there's nothing you can do with it.
You talk about that nervous energy. What are those players feeling like this morning? Because I know coaches, you want to say, hey, it's just another game. You got to approach every game like it. Every game is the same. You want to go in, you want to dominate, you want to win, you want to move on to the next week. Obviously, that's the goal today. It's no different than last week against Michigan State or even Maryland, Rutgers, regardless of the opponent. But we all know that today's special. We all know that today's matchup is just different. What are these players waking up this morning feeling like?
Well, they're waking up with the fact that this is something that for 365 days a year is talked about inside the walls of Woody Hayes. I mean, they have the countdown clock, which everybody does, but it's more than that. It's how they build their off-season workouts, how they structure spring ball, what they do in the summer, what they do during training camp. The fact that Ryan Day said it best. We always have one eye on them of what's going on up there, and I think it's not just to disrespect any of the other opponents. That's more the fact to pay respect to what they view as the greatest rivalry in all of sport. And so if you're going to say that, you can't just pay lip service to it. You actually have to practice what you preach. And that's something that Ryan Day does, and they've infused that into the staff. And for Ryan not even being, an alumnus of Ohio State or a native to the state of Ohio, he has embraced this thing, and wrapped two arms around it. He understood it from Urban Meyer, and now he's put his own twist on it and has done a fantastic job of driving it and emphasizing it home to the players.
You know, I'm in the minority on this. I've made people angry the last couple of years because I've said, hey, I wake up on this morning and I don't have all the same warm, fuzzy feelings inside that everybody else does. And it's Michigan's fault because they have kind of let this rivalry get away, at least from a competitive standpoint, with Ohio State dominating for this past decade. I love when something is on the line outside of just bragging rights. I'm not saying that bragging rights mean nothing, but I feel like Ohio State has separated themselves from the rest of the Big Ten. Some of that's on the fault of the Big Ten for not having teams keep up with them, but the one team that should be keeping up with them is that team up north. I feel like they've let their fan base down. They've let this rivalry down at times, but this year it feels different. Number 2 versus number 5. There's more than just the rivalry, bragging rights on the line. Bobby, I'm sure you'll agree when there's something more on the line, these matchups just feel more special. And when Ohio State and Michigan are fighting for a chance to get to the Big Ten title, a chance to get to the playoff, this matchup, it just means more.
Well, that's historically how the rivalries happen, is you play the same team every year, and the Big Ten title ran through Columbus and Ann Arbor. I mean, that was the reality of what the Big Ten was for a number of years. And, it's been really 2 decades of dominance, not just one. You go back to 2001. I mean, there's not a whole lot there to speak of for Michigan. And listen, it's not about the wins and the losses, to me, about, who's winning more games, and keeping the rivalry strong. To me, it's more about, what is on the line. Like you said, what is at stake? Are both teams coming in, to this game undefeated or one loss? The winner goes to the Big Ten championship. Is there college football playoff implications on the line? And that's what this thing was built on. That's why it was so good for so long. And, today it's all right there. It was all right there. And I believe 2016, I mean, there's been points, where Ohio State and, Michigan over the last couple of years, I mean, they've had, really good teams that Michigan's brought in here, and they just haven't been able to get the job done. So we'll see what happens today. But, a top 5 ranking, 2 versus 5, and I don't care what the history says, that's one heck of a game. And when you have a rivalry as thick as this, I mean, you have no idea what can happen.
Former Buckeye Bobby Carpenter, good enough to wake up with us this morning on game day and hang out with us here on 1410 ESPN Radio and 92.9 Jack FM. Bobby, I'll send you out with this. We had Paul Keels on earlier in the week. I've talked with Keith Byars and some other former Buckeyes about this as well. Beating Michigan, it's always a great feeling. But which beating Michigan at the shoe or beating Michigan at their place? Watching the disappointment and the 100,000 fans that they have there, which spot means more to get a victory over Michigan in your opinion? Obviously, you like winning in front of your fans, but there has to be something special about seeing the misery in the fans' faces, right? Like, which spot is more enjoyable for you as a former player to get a win at?
It's at home, it's great. You have obviously 105, 107,000 people behind you, and that's phenomenal. But what Ohio State was 14 years without winning. They're 87-01. We lost in 03 my sophomore year, and getting a victory up there my senior year and saying that you won, in the big house on your opponent's stadium, and listening to that, place go silent when big plays are made. If you're fortunate enough to have a big enough lead in the fourth quarter where there might be people exiting, like, you've done a good job, and you can tell by the sound or the silence that you're hearing inside of that stadium. So to get a victory on the road, to go in there to enemy territory, that's the only place that they bust to anymore. There's like an old school collegiate feel about it. And I think, as they sit there and watch it, it's probably better. And that's not a knock on winning at home to the Ohio State fans. It's just always better to kind of get that one on the road and to watch it go silent.
All right, Bobby, send us out with this. Where are you watching the game? Are you in Michigan? Where are you calling us from right now? Where does Bobby Carpenter take in the game?
Oh, goodness. The last time I watched this game, I was in a hotel room in Bristol, Connecticut. I was doing work with ESPN over the weekend, and I was up there, and it was no point in flying back for one day off because I had to do stuff on Sunday again. So it's nice. I'm going to be at home, maybe at a neighbor's house, consuming this thing. Got up, did some XM radio this morning, and I'm going to be honest, I'm amped up. It's tough to kind of come down from this, and this is what you look forward to all year if you're a Buckeye fan.
All right, give Bobby a follow on Twitter at BCarp3, at BCarp3 on Twitter. Bobby, I love the stuff you're doing with Outkick and all the projects you're involved in. You're one of my favorites out there. Thank you so much. Enjoy the game, and I hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much. Enjoy it.
All right, that's Bobby Carpenter, former Buckeye, good enough to wake up with us here this morning as we get you set for the game. Ohio State, Michigan. Noon kick. Of course, it's our expanded Buckeye pregame coverage live here in the Miami Valley from the famous WING studios. I'm Justin Kinner hanging out with you here this morning, walking you right up, of course, until 10:30. We'll hand you off to Paul Keels, Skip Mossick, and the rest of the Buckeye broadcast crew, and they'll get you set for the big noon kick. Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State at Michigan. Snow in the forecast, and that's exactly what you look forward to here in the month of November. We're not done hearing we are not done hearing from former Buckeyes. We will have College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars, Dayton's own. He'll join us coming up here in 5 minutes. We'll chat with him before we hand it off to Skip Mossick, Paul Keels, and the crew. Ohio State, Michigan, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio and 92.9 Jack FM. We'll be back in just a moment.
We don't give a damn for the whole state of Mississippi, the whole state of Mississippi, the whole state of Mississippi. We don't give a damn for the whole state of Mississippi. We're from Ohio. We're from Ohio. Hey. We're from Ohio. We're from Ohio. Hey. We're from Ohio. We don't give a damn for the whole state of Mississippi, the whole state of Mississippi, the whole state of Mississippi. We don't give a damn for the whole state of Mississippi. We're from Ohio.
All sports. All the time. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
1, 2, 3.
Call It Propane has been serving the Buckeye Nation in the Miami Valley for over 65 years.
Let our family help protect your family from old man winter. Find out why 98% of our customers would recommend us to friends and family. Ask about the service options at 937-372-9194.
Family owned and operated for 3 generations, Call It Propane and Call It Seal Coating are proud to serve the Buckeye Nation.
Buckman's D&D Harley-Davidson and Xenia has gifts for everyone on your list this year. November 24th, 26th, and 27th. Take 20% off licensed products, 10% off aftermarket non-Harley-Davidson parts, and have those incredible gifts wrapped and ready to go with free gift wrapping. Get those names checked off your list and give them what they really want this year, the gift of Harley-Davidson. Buckman's D&D Harley-Davidson, online at buckmansdnd.com.
Hunting season has returned at Field & Stream, and there's no better time to stock up on your favorite essentials. Get everything you need for your next outdoor adventure from Spy Point, Sitka, Browning, 10-Point, Winchester, and more top brands. Find the perfect gift for the outdoor enthusiast on your list. Explore our wide assortment of quality gear from the brands you trust and discover exclusive holiday deals in-store and online at fieldandstreamshop.com. Give the gift of adventure this holiday season. Field & Stream, where traditions begin.
D-Max, home of the Duramax diesel engine, is proud to sponsor Ohio State football broadcasts on ESPN 1410 WING. D-Max is now hiring in Moraine and Brookville. For current openings, go to dmaxengines.com. D-Max, your engine for success. Go Bucks.
Hey, I'm College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars, and I'm here with John Glazier from Glazier Soft Water. Did you know we are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes?
Yes, I did. But did you know that Glazier Soft Water is the home of the 7-year worry-free parts and labor warranty? We've been making water great since 1988. What were you doing in 1988?
That was my 3rd year in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles. I had 10 touchdowns that season, and we made the playoffs in 1988.
So you can say that we both have been doing great since 1988. Glazier Soft Water. Glazier Water is better water.
Hey, did you know the Boone Saloon delivers pizza? If you've never had a pizza from the Boone Saloon, you don't know what you're missing. It's the best pizza in town. The Boone Saloon at Dayton Road between Springfield and Enid. Enjoy a delicious piping hot pizza tonight from the Boone Saloon.
Germain Honda, Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. For a limited time, get 0% financing on the 21 Passport, the 22 Pilot, and HRV, or 1.9% for 48 months on the 22 Odyssey. Lease a 22 HRV Sport for as little as $229 a month month, or a CRV Hybrid EX for as little as $279 a month. See me, Sales Manager Jason High, for all the details. We are located on Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda, Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I hope to see you soon.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. It's our expanded Buckeye pregame coverage live here locally in the Miami Valley, coming at you live from the WING studios here in Kettering. I'm Justin Kinner with you here on this Saturday morning. Ohio State, Michigan, noon kickoff. And, of course, we're starting our coverage early this morning. And we just heard from former Buckeye Bobby Carpenter. We will hear from College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars coming up here in just 60 seconds. But glad to be hanging out with you this morning. We're coming at you live on Facebook and YouTube. If you want to be a part of all the live and local action we do here on Facebook and YouTube, search for the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. Like, follow along. You can watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m., as well as the Keith Byars Show every Monday from noon to 1. The Keith Byars Show brought to you by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, of course. And every Monday you can hang out with the former Buckeye Dayton's own Keith Byars from noon to 1. So make sure you go follow the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, as well as ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Like and subscribe and follow along. Before we hand it off to Paul Keels and, of course, Skip Mossick and the Buckeye broadcast crew, let's be joined now by College Football Hall of Famer, Dayton's own Keith Byars. Keith, good morning. I'm sure it feels like Christmas morning for you.
Oh, it does. I can't wait. My favorite week of the year is here, and it's the culmination of beating those Wolverines up north, beating that team up north. I can't wait. What time is 12 o'clock? Is it 12 yet?
I'm more excited waking up this morning than I was on Thanksgiving morning, and I was pretty excited for Thanksgiving morning. So there you go. But first of all, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, Keith, and I appreciate you hanging out with us here this morning. But let me ask you, you woke up this morning. Compare the feelings that you feel waking up, post playing days for Ohio State, Michigan, to when you woke up as a player during your playing days for Ohio State, Michigan.
Well, they're pretty similar. Only thing, I just don't get to put my shoulder pads and helmet on, today. But, you wake up, you look outside, it's a great fall, morning. It's not sunny, but it's light outside. It's football weather. You can smell it in the air. It's that crispness. And you really can't wait, to explode, when you walk in the stadium. And there's going to be 100,000 people there, whether it's that stadium up north or Ohio Stadium on this weekend out of the year. You just can't wait to play. And for me, it was a dream come true to play in the greatest rivalry in all the sports, with the Ohio State Michigan game. So those 4 Saturday mornings, I got to wake up to knowing that today is the day I can make a difference. On the field. One thing to make a difference from watching it in the living room or in the stadium. And that does make a difference. The players do feel that energy. But for 4 years of my life, I had the opportunity to be, between the white lines and do something about the rivalry. And that's 4 years that I will always cherish and be special, to me in my life.
Keith, I just talked about this with Bobby Carpenter. I said I feel like when you think about this rivalry, and I'm in the minority here because I make people angry over the years. I've said, hey, I just don't get as jacked up for this game as I used to, because I just feel like Ohio State has done their part, but that team up north has not done their part. I feel like Ohio State has separated themselves from the Big Ten. I feel like, Michigan has failed. There's not a lot of teams, I get it, that could be who Ohio State is, but the one program that I feel like that has the tradition, that it goes back many decades, that should be able to recruit at the level that Ohio State does and help lift the Big Ten. Michigan has failed that. I feel like they failed their fan base, they failed the conference, and they failed this rivalry. But for the first time in a while, I wake up and it's number 2 versus number 5. There's a Big Ten championship spot on the line. There's a college football playoff spot on the line. Finally, there's something more than just the bragging rights of the rivalry itself. I'm not trying to belittle that only, but I feel like these two should be fighting for college football playoff spots every single year, and that's what makes this matchup even more special today. Is it's an elimination game, Keith. The loser of this game, their playoff chances go out the window.
Well, you're 100% right, about that. But Michigan is holding up their part. Their job is to come, have a decent team, show up, and get the brakes beat off. So if they continue to do that, so they got everybody food, and if we do what we're supposed to do today, it's going to be that type of afternoon. I mean, because, the Ohio State-Michigan game is more than today. It's more than this week. It's 365 days a year, all year. It never ends. I mean, you've known me for some years now. You've seen me wear blue. You've seen me wear gold. But you've never seen me wearing blue and gold at the same time. I just can't do it. I refuse to do it. So it's a lifestyle for us, between the two schools and the two states. It's something that's going to go on, that's how, important the rivalry is. And then, like you said, when you have a rivalry game, you always throw out the records. It comes down to this game. This game makes or break your season, and this is an elimination game. And, when you win it, hey, your season is made. And now it's just extra whipped cream, on your sundae or cherry when you go on and win the Big Ten championship and a national championship. Those are great. Those are, your goals. But your number one goal, and one of the reasons why you choose to go to Ohio State, is to kick that team up north behind. That's why you want to come to Ohio State. I was at an engagement the other night, and you probably heard me say this before. Every player on Ohio State's football team that's on the team now or past and the future Buckeyes, one of the 5 reasons why you choose to come to Ohio State, if the Ohio State-Michigan game is not in it, you chose the wrong school. Everybody comes to Ohio State for various reasons. They got my favorite major, my position, I want to go to school, all the tradition, all those different things are part of the reason why you choose to go to Ohio State. But one of your top 5 reasons is not to play in this game. You got a problem. You shouldn't be there on the football team. You shouldn't be there. So, and I'm sure majority of the players, maybe a few outliers, but the reasons why they chose to come to Ohio State, one of the top 5 reasons why is to play in this game.
All right, there's snow in the forecast, Keith, for today. I don't know if it's flurries or an accumulation of snow, but nonetheless, that's football weather. I'm sure you would agree. But we only have about 90 seconds left. If you don't mind, Keith, you've had a lot of Ohio State-Michigan games that you've played in your days. So what is your favorite memory from the rivalry game that you got to play in? What's that one memory that to this day still sticks to you that you always remember, that when you think Ohio State-Michigan, you think of this memory from your playing days?
I'll answer that question, but I know we got a short time. But I'll say this. One of my keys to the game today is our 2 offensive tackles, especially the right tackle, DeJuan Jones. If he has a great game and they have controls of defensive ends, we're going to go on and win big. My favorite memory, without a doubt, is 1984. That game was a game similar today, determined the Big Ten champion. And I went on to score 3 touchdowns, and we win 21-6 and go to the Rose Bowl. It was outright Big Ten champions in 1984. That is my most favorite game.
All right. Well, we're hoping today we can add to the list of great Ohio State-Michigan games, of course. 2 versus 5. Oh, I get that. I don't have whole lot of doubt. There's some Michigan fans chirping, but that's what they do, and that's okay. They get to at least feel good about themselves for another 2 2 hours, or 90 minutes, I should say. But College Football Hall of Famer, Dayton's own Keith Byars. Keith, thank you for hanging out with us this morning. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. You can hang out with Keith Byars and myself tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. live at Frickers in Miamisburg for the Sunday morning tailgate show. So come on out every Sunday morning. Meet College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars. We'll be talking about Ohio State whooping up on that team up north tomorrow morning starting at 11:30. Keith, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Go Bucks. All right, good stuff. Keith Byars, Dayton's own. How about that? All right, folks, have a great rest of your afternoon. Enjoy Ohio State, Michigan, right here on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, football and basketball, 1410 ESPN Radio and 92.9 Jack FM. We now hand you off to Skip Mossick, Paul Keels, and the rest of the Ohio State Buckeye broadcast crew as they get you set for Ohio State, Michigan, right here on 1410 Wing AM and 92.9 Jack FM. Go Bucks.